What's up, you guys? It's Sarah at carnivore.yogi on Instagram. Thank you so much for coming back to my YouTube channel and clicking on today's video. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about some lab tests you may want to consider getting run before you start a carnivore diet. Honestly, before you start any new diet, it's really important to know how your body is currently functioning, right? Because going into a diet or a new way of eating, be it carnivore or anything else, is going to be a stressor on your body. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself the best chance to see the best possible results. Now, these tests are also going to be helpful if you are stalled out, if you're not seeing progress or you're not feeling well, you're having low energy. So that will be in this video. The second thing I want to say here is that I am not a doctor, nutritionist, or expert. I'm just sharing my journey and my experience. I will, however, link below this video a couple of experts that I highly recommend that you consider working with if you get these lab tests run and they come back abnormal. They can help you approach the diet differently. They may also recommend strategic supplementation to get your body up and running a bit better so that, again, your metabolism can be the most efficient. The third thing here before I jump into the testing is that I want to thank my sponsor, Let's Get Checked, for sponsoring this video. You can actually get all of these tests run at home using Let's Get Checked. You can use my code YOGI20. I will link these specific tests below this video. Now, you're absolutely welcome to just go to your doctor and get those tests run if it's easier for you. But I have utilized Let's Get Checked over the last year, and it has been so valuable for me in my journey of knowing, like, it's time to stop, it's time to take a step back, it's time to tweak, right? Because we all are looking for our best health, okay? So finally, let me jump into the tests. Now, the first test I want to mention, it's kind of honorable mention, is your A1C. So that's going to be your average blood sugar over 3 months. It's good to know that going into the carnivore diet, or really any low carb diet or any diet, honestly, and recheck that as you go along. So recheck it perhaps every 90 days just to make sure it's not going up too far, you know, and ideally you want that number to go down, especially if you're starting off in a pre-diabetic or diabetic range. It's definitely important to keep an eye on that, okay? As far as your metabolism, that's definitely going to influence your metabolism. The lower you can get your A1C, the better and more efficiently your body's going to run. Okay, the second test that I think is imperative is getting a full thyroid panel. So if you ask your doctor for a thyroid test, a lot of times they're only going to check your TSH. I would say, from what I've seen and from my personal experience, my TSH is always beautiful, but knowing your T3, now T3 can be low for a lot of people, and that can cause a metabolic slowdown, right? So knowing your T3, knowing your T4, and also getting those TPO antibodies tested to make sure you don't have thyroid disease like Hashimoto's. You could also you probably do want to check your reverse T3 and your reverse T4, because sometimes your reverse T3 can be super high. Your T3 is not necessarily low, but the ratio of reverse T3 to T3 is very important. If one of those markers is off, you could have a metabolic slowdown. So at rest, your body is burning off anywhere from 300 to 500 calories less per day. Chronic dieting, chronic stress, all of those things, if you've done a lot of that or have a lot of that in your life, can absolutely influence your thyroid. So I think knowing these numbers is very important, and then working with a practitioner, working with your doctor to make sure if you need medication, you get on the proper medication, but also working with a proper therapist like Nutrition with Judy or Stephanie to optimize your diet, and again, add in supplementation, because a lot of times with thyroid, adrenal fatigue is tied in, or adrenal fatigue can mirror the same thing as the thyroid issues. That didn't really sound very scientific, but you guys catch my drift. And a lot of doctors will say there's no such thing as adrenal fatigue. Technically, there's not. But your adrenals are so important. The health of your adrenals is so incredibly important. And how you approach diet, how you approach supplementation is really going to depend on the health of your adrenals. So knowing those going in, very important. The next test I want to talk about will be your sex hormones. So if your sex hormones are low, your testosterone is low, and perhaps your estrogen is high, this is also going to influence your fat burning. Your body will have a much more difficult time burning off that energy. So you want to optimize those hormones before you really work on trying to lose weight, right? You really want to know where those are, okay? The last test I want to talk about is cortisol. So I recommend, and I've heard this from other practitioners, this is not just my recommendation I'm making up, but to test your cortisol first thing in the morning, because if your cortisol is off the charts, there's a lot of functions in your body that are going to go downhill. Absolutely, fat burning, going to go downhill. Adrenals, going to go downhill. And all of these things can cascade and eventually cause issues with your thyroid. But having high cortisol will absolutely influence how much body fat you're able to burn off and how well your metabolism works. So knowing those numbers is extremely important. And again, if one of those numbers is off, making sure that you work with someone so that you can approach things a bit differently, a bit more strategically, and possibly get some supplement recommendations. And this is, again, I know I've said this 100 times, this is not just for the carnivore diet. This is any way of eating. So if you're watching this and you're not even doing carnivore, or you're maybe even just considering it, just try to get these things run first. Again, you can use your doctor, or you can use Let's Get Checked. And this is something that you're going to want to optimize before you start trying to go into a calorie deficit, cutting a bunch of calories. You want to heal these things first. So trying to emphasize that a lot. All right, guys, so make sure you maximize your outcomes by testing these things out, working with someone if necessary, and let me know down in the comments if you have any of these markers that are off, or if you're suspicious that maybe some of these markers are off. Let me know what you think. And also comment below this video if there's anything else you want me to talk about on this channel. I do hope that this was really helpful, a little shorter than usual, but let's just get to the point, right? Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.